Minnesota Senate Energy, Utilities, Environment, and Climate Committee will please come to order. It's Wednesday, March 20. No, it's not Wednesday, March 25th. Everybody knows that. It is Wednesday, April 8th, just to be clear. We are in room 1150 at the Minnesota Senate Building. It's 12:30 and a quorum is present. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. The agenda today will begin with Senate File 4920, Senator Mathews' bill. While Senator Mathews is getting ready, I want to acknowledge that the substance of Senate File 4920 is already in the omnibus bill. In order to have this properly heard and vetted, we're going to have Senator Mathews bring this forward, understanding that it is already contained in the bill that I will be presenting following this on the agenda. Also, members, in your packets, there are 27 letters relating to the Energy Omnibus Bill. 25 of those letters, I should note, are in support of the bill. And for the Vice Chair, when we present the bill, I think I'll sit here and handle it that way, even though you're chairing. That's a little bit of a framework. Thank you for your patience. Senator Mathews, to your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. I have Senate File 4920, and I have an A2 author's amendment, which should be in your packets.
Senator Mathews offers the A2 amendment. Senator Mathews, do you want to describe it or just have us put it on?
Yeah, it's putting in the dollar amount and then making a correction to the name that we need to have listed, and then we'll get into the verbiage that we're changing. It's a small change, but it was still important to make in this bill.
Thank you, Senator Mathews. The chair is a yes on the A2. Members, any questions for Senator Mathews? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the A2, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. Senator Mathews, to your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll give a brief introduction and then give it to our testifiers. Senate File 4920 is addressing an upcoming issue in the city of Becker with the scheduled closures of the Sherco power plants. There's a company, Liberty Paper, that ran a paper mill based off of steam that the plant was generating, and it was vital to the operation of the business. And there was a thought about, substitute builds there might be constructed for that. And at this point, it's just scheduled for closures and nothing else at this point. So the company is looking for alternative resources to make sure that they will be able to stay viable. I have Mr. Jim Morgan, the CEO of the company here, talking about what they do, the good work that they do for their employees in the community around the state. And I'm excited to let him share what they are hoping to do with this bill.
Thank you, Senator Mathews. Host communities is supposed to be one of our emphases. Mr. Morgan, thank you very much for coming before the committee. If you could please introduce yourself and present your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senators. Thank you, Senator. My name is Jim Morgan. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of Liberty Diversified International.
Welcome back to the committee, and please present your testimony.
Thank you. A little bit of background. Liberty Diversified is a 108-year-old family business in the fourth generation, founded and headquartered in Minnesota. Headquarters are in New Hope. We have 6 facilities in Minnesota employing about 700 team members. Those facilities are in Golden Valley, Brooklyn Park. Senator Hoffman visited us the other day. We appreciate that. We also Anoka, Ramsey, and Becker. I would also say we're a partner with Demcon in their recycling facility, and it's a true family business with a direct interest in Minnesota. Liberty Paper started in 1995. It's a paper mill in Becker. It's our most valuable asset, frankly, because it feeds paper into all of our facilities for packaging production. Liberty Paper also converts about 1,000 tons a day of old corrugated containers that are gathered in the region here. It's a 100% post-consumer recycled facility. It feeds our plants here and also in the Midwest. And we employ about 150 people in Becker. Average compensation is about $90,000 a year. We're challenged a bit with the scenario that we face. As we look at it, we consume, I'll look at my notes for 1 second. This is not a venue I'm real comfortable with, but we consume about 874 million pounds of waste steam coming from Sherco. Essentially, we take the steam that's exhausted off of the turbines after they've produced power. That comes to our facility. We use it for motive steam and we use it for thermal steam to produce paper. We then condense that and send it back in a usable form to Sherco. So there's a closed loop system there. Since 1995, it's been an incredible, mutually beneficial relationship with XL, and we expect to continue that mutual beneficial relationship far into the future. So we're excited about that. The reason we're really here today is that we need, given the uncertainty of Sherco's, well, we know the certainty of Sherco's future, the uncertainty of our future for steam supply, we need to immediately commence a study. Timing is such that for us to complete the study, be able to do preliminary engineering, go into permitting, purchasing, construction, and ultimately operations, it's about a 4 to 6 year process. So as we look at a 12/31/30 shutdown on Sherco 3, we're kind of on the clock right now. So it's a bit urgent for us, and therefore we've come and asked for the legislature's support and your support. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Well done. Just making sure I got this part correctly. 1,000 tons a day?
Of old corrugated containers. We produce 800 tons a day of paper from that, which then goes into our packaging operations. Those packages produce boxes that go into the consumers, and when that consumer takes the box out, puts it on the curb, it very likely, if it's in Minnesota, it ends back up in our paper mill and we make paper out of it again.
Thank you. That's kind of where I was going. Appreciate your testimony, Mr. Morgan. We also have Mr. Laird, am I saying that correctly?
LaRude.
LaRude. Mr. LaRude, welcome to the Energy Committee. If you could please introduce yourself and present your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Greg LaRude, and I'm the Becker City Administrator. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today in support of Senate File 4920. I thank Senator Mathews for drafting this important bill on behalf of both Liberty Paper and the City of Becker. Liberty Diversified operates 6 locations in Minnesota, employing over 700 people. The Liberty Paper Division has been a cornerstone in the Becker Industrial Park since 1995, employing 150 people in Becker. They recycle 1,000 tons of paper products per day and produce 700 to 800 tons of paper, which is then used as raw material in their other operations throughout Minnesota. One of the advantages of Liberty Paper located in Becker is the availability of excess steam generated from the Sherco power plant the Liberty Paper uses in the processes at the mill. Liberty Paper then condenses the steam into a usable form and returns it to Sherco for use at the power plant, and this arrangement has benefited both parties. I have been before this committee in the past to talk about the direct impacts of the closure of the Sherco power plant that we'll have on Becker, and this is one, I think, of the unintended consequences of the power plant's retirement. Once the plant fully retires, it will no longer produce the steam critical to Liberty Paper, which is one of their most valuable assets at the Becker location and critical to their entire operations in Minnesota. Senate File 4920 is a solution to this issue. It will take funds from the Renewable Development Account and assist Liberty Paper to study constructing a biomass energy facility that will generate the necessary energy to continue their operations independent of the power plant, ensuring that their continued operation is not contingent on the status of the Sherco power plant. There could not be a more appropriate use for these funds. Renewable development funds for the purposes of assisting a paper recycling facility to continue its operations by using the funds to study sustainability, a biomass energy facility to produce the necessary energy for Liberty Paper. And on behalf of the City Council of Becker, I urge the committee to pass Senate File 4920. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for that testimony. That's all our listed testifiers. Member, again, this bill is already contained in the omnibus bill, but very appropriate if members have questions for Senator Mathews or the testifiers before we go to Senator Mathews for the final word. Seeing none, Senator Mathews, you're in pretty good shape since it's already included in the omnibus bill, but any comments that you want to make?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Really appreciate it. My testifiers explained it very well. We're in a timed situation to help another business that's heavily relied on the energy use in Becker, and this is to help them study what would be needed. And biomass is one that's listed in here, and anaerobic digester is the other one. After the study hopefully helps them understand what decision and what plan should be made, there will be significant private investment to try to help construct this, be able to operate into the future, and be ready to open up their next chapter. So they've been a valuable member and partner in our community, and it has a lot of community support to try to keep it that way. And I would urge support to this bill, and I appreciate it being included in your omnibus.
Thank you, Senator Mathews. Well done. Technically, the bill is laid over here, but it'll be in the next bill we see, so it's only laid over for about 30 seconds. And just for the members of the committee, we have made certain overtures to host communities. For those communities that host energy generation, we've said we want to make something of a partnership with you. City of Becker, for example, and their school district's been here at least 2 times talking about their concerns as Sherco changes or morphs. And so I think the committee ought to ask, if we want communities to host generation, we do, what will we do for them when there's changes? And so the chair is supportive of the bill. I may have mentioned it's in the omnibus bill. Nice job, Senator Mathews. Thank you for the testifiers. Stay tuned. With that, members, we're going now to Senate File 4504. This is the chair's bill. I'm going to hand the gavel down to Senator Zhang, the vice chair. And Mr. Chair, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Senator Frentz. To your bill, Senate File 4504.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members. Here we have the Senate Omnibus Energy and Finance Bill for 2026. It should be noted, Mr. Chair, we do not yet have an agreement with the other chamber about the process. We are including policy and finance in this bill in the hopes that we'll reach agreement as we go forward. I'm going to have council read through the bill, but a couple of the highlights include the letters that we've received. Again, in your packet are letters on the bill from 27 entities. 25 of them are in support of the bill. We're going to take testimony and then have amendment practice for members. Some members have brought forward to me amendments that they want to offer. I've given as straight a feedback as I can, Mr. Chair, and appreciate the opportunity to sit here in case council's needed to interpret any of the amendments. And with that, Mr. Chair, I was hoping that Ms. Severson could walk through Senate File 4504.
All right, Ms. Severson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'll be doing a brief walkthrough of Article 1, but there's also a more detailed summary included in your packets. Article 1 contains provisions related to energy, finance, and policy. Sections 1 and 2 are from Senator Weber's Senate File 3477, which authorizes money from the Petroleum Tank Fund to be expended to partially reimburse the cost of replacing pressurized single-walled steel piping related equipment in underground petroleum storage tank systems. Sections 3 and 4 are from Senator Hemmingson Yeager's Senate File 4281, which establishes thermal energy network services. Sections 5 to 8 are from Senator Frentz's Senate File 4720, which amends provisions related to energy security planning and various grant programs. Section 9 is from Senator Dibble's Senate File 486, which establishes the Supplemental Energy Assistance Grant Program. Sections 10 to 12 are from Senator Zhang's Senate File 4142, which amends the authority of the Minnesota Climate Innovation Finance Authority and provides limited liability for the state.
I'm sorry, Ms. Severson. So I see that there's the A3 amendment and an A12. Maybe we should adopt those first, or would you like to?
Mr. Chair, that's fine. I would move the adoption of the A3 amendment first.
Certainly. Senator Frentz moves the A3 amendment. The author's amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The A3 amendment is adopted. I'm sorry about that, but Ms. Severson, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Section 13 is the final section from Senate File 4720, which amends provisions related to the residential heat pump program. I'll hand the walkthrough over to Mr. Mueller to talk about the fiscal portions.
Mr. Chairman and members, I'll start with Section 14. of Article 1 contains the appropriation dealing with the thermal energy networks. It's $40,000 starting fiscal year 27 from the general fund to the PUC. And then this would be recaptured through the PUC's normal assessment process of their operating costs. So this would come back to the state as a general fund of assessment, so a net cost of zero. The next section 15 is the appropriation for Senate File 486, the energy assistant grants, and this is $15 million. The bill that previously left the committee was at $40 million. This is now at $15 million for that program. Next, we get to Article 2, which is the renewable development account appropriations. And also note there is a spreadsheet that coincides with the numbers in the bill here. I won't go through that separately. The only other thing I'll note, the spreadsheet does contain the cost of the petroleum tank cleanup provision from section 1 and 2, and that's a little over 4.2 million per year. That would be ongoing, and then there's a revenue with the Petro Fund that blinks on to cover that cost. And that was covered when we went through Senate File 3477 earlier this session. Back to Article 2, the renewable development account. Article 2 contains a net of $40 million. There's $36 million of either appropriations or transfers, and then there's a $4 million revenue reduction and rate reduction I'll point to at the end of the article. The first item on page 19 of the bill, subdivision 2, is a $800,000 one-time appropriation to the University of St. Thomas microgrid project. This is in addition to the $400,000 that was in last year's Omnibus Energy bill that was enacted. This is from Senate File 2758, Senator Zhang. The next one, subdivision 3, is $3.5 million for the green hydrogen project in St. Cloud. This is from Senate File 1713, Senator Putnam. The next one, subdivision 4, is $5 million for anaerobic digester system, and this is from Senate File 1037, Senator Zhang. Subdivision 5 is the $2.25 million for the geothermal energy system at Komozu. This is from Senate File 2720, Senator Omu verbatim. Subdivision 6 is the Minnesota Energy Alley, $2 million. This is from Senate File 761, Senator Zhang. Next page, 21, subdivision 7. This is from Senate File 1710 that was heard this year that contained a number of appropriations. This is the first one, $2 million for the energy tracking portion of that bill. Next page, subdivision 8 is $500,000. This was also from Senate File 1710. $500,000 to the Great Plains Institute. Subdivision 9 is from Senate File 3211, Senator Champion. $2.57 million for the McAllister College geothermal energy system. Subdivision 10 is from the Senator Mathews bill that was just heard, $715,000 for the biomass energy facility study. Subdivision 11 is the amount of money set aside for the Department of Commerce to administer the grants. The $225,000 here equals, it's not a percentage amount, it equals $25,000 per grant. So it's less than the, otherwise what would be under current statute 16B98 subdivision 14, the Department of Commerce would be able to keep 5% of the total amount appropriated, and this is just going to a cost per grant, not depending on the size of the grant. Section 3 are 3 appropriations to the University of Minnesota. The first one, starting on line 29, on page 23, is $1.5 million for hydrogen ammonia research, and this was in Senate File 1710. The next one is on page 24, line 3, $650,000 to the Natural Resource Research Institute to evaluate the state's geological hydrogen potential. This is from Senate File 2926, Senator Hochschild. And then on line 19, $750,000 also to the Natural Resources Research Institute to look at the next generation iron ore industry. And this is from Senate File 3110. The next appropriation is on page 25. This one goes to the Pollution Control Agency, and this is $3 million for a biomass energy generation plant in Shakopee. And this is from Senate File 2456, Senator Pratt. The next one, Section 5, goes to the Department of Agriculture. This is $4 million for the Talus Ag green fertilizer project, and this was also from Senate File 1710 that was heard this year. Section 6 is from Senate File 1435, Senator Mathews. This is the nuclear study, and $300,000, and this is going through the Public Utilities Commission. And that study language goes through page 27 on section 7. On page 28, there are 2 transfers. Since there are existing accounts for these programs, these are treated as transfers. $2 million on line 4, page 28, is for the geothermal planning grants, and this is from Senate File 2454, Senator McEwen. On line 7, $4.465 million is transferred to the pre-weatherization account, and this is a modification of the Senate File 4450 from Senator Dibble. Section 8 is a one-time revenue reduction for the renewable development account, and the way this is structured is paragraph A is a $2 million reduction from the amount that Xcel sends to the state for the Prairie Island cask storage, and then another $2 million reduction from the cask stored at Monticello. That's paragraph B. And then paragraph C directs the assessment that Xcel has currently with the state to recapture the cost of the renewable development account transfers each year, and this directs them to reduce that assessment by $4 million in calendar year 2027 to reflect the reduced transfers to the state. Mr. Chair, that is it for the walkthrough of the bill and the fiscal provisions.
All right, thank you for the information. Next up, we will move on to our testifiers. We have first off Mr. Pete Wyckoff from Department of Commerce. Next on deck is Tracy Hodel from the City of St. Cloud, and then Annie Levinson-Falk. Mr. Wyckoff. Welcome to the State and Local Government Committee. Please state your name for the record. You may begin. I'm sorry, to the Energy Committee.
Wherever we are. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Pete Wyckoff, and I'm Deputy Commissioner of Energy Resources at the Minnesota Department of Commerce. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on SF 4504 as amended, the Senate Energy Policy and Budget Omnibus Bill. We appreciate the committee's inclusion of several provisions from the department's energy package proposal, SF 4720, including department language on energy security planning, extending application timelines for existing programs, making updates to better administer the State Competitiveness Fund, and adjustments to our state heat pump rebate program to better align with new federal requirements. We're also excited about the inclusion of more money for our geothermal planning grant program. The initial round drew tremendous interest from all corners of the state. I also say that we stand ready to implement state-level energy assistance funding should you choose to adopt that portion of the bill. The need is, of course, very high. The department would like to note, however, that the technical change to the electric school bus deployment program from the department's energy package was not included in the amendment, and the department would have preferred that this technical change should have been included in this bill. I've already talked to Senator Frentz about that. I would also like to acknowledge the inclusion of the nuclear study in the adopted amendment. The Department of Commerce is prepared to administer this study should the committee determine that our agency is the appropriate entity to do so. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be happy to answer questions the committee may have.
Thank you, Mr. Wyckoff. Tracy Hodel. Welcome to the Energy Committee. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, thank you for all your time today. My name is Tracy Hodel. I'm the City Administrator for the City of St. Cloud, Minnesota. I was here before you all last year, sharing the background on St. Cloud's first of its kind in the world green hydrogen project that we've been working on for several years. First and foremost, again, thank you so much for all of your work on this bill and for including St. Cloud's $3.5 million request for a battery system into the Senate Energy Omnibus bill. I'm hopeful you all remember the basics of the project. Essentially, we're planning to use 2 renewable energy sources. So we create biogas from waste that's being discharged or hauled to our treatment facility, and it runs through a combined heat and power engine. And then we also have solar on site that would power this electrolyzer. And simply the electrolysis process, very simple, take a water molecule, you have hydrogen, you have oxygen. What people don't know is that typically there is a lot of waste heat that comes from this process. So the unique part about this project is we'd be able to use the hydrogen and the oxygen and the waste heat on site, and then also our community can use it. The transportation sector, the manufacturing sector can use this hydrogen product. We've been working on this project since 2022, and our team has worked incredibly hard getting grants for this project. As shared last year, we need a power source, and this is kind of where we were last year. We were going through design, and we knew that we were going to have to go on a pause button because we need that power supply. The project is currently at 90% design, and we're unable to finish our design and bidding documents because we do not have a power source due to some grid challenges that our utility provider currently has. We have over $7 million worth of equipment sitting at site at our facility right now, and I believe you all have a picture of the equipment that we have on site at our facility. So we have the electrolyzer, the thermal control system on site, the compression system, and we have that solar up and ready to go as soon as we have that power support to be able to provide that. So, and actually our last piece of equipment was just delivered on Monday, April 6th. So our electrolyzer, that NEL product that you see in the image there. But we do need to get this equipment commissioned and producing hydrogen. The battery system would be able to provide that steady power supply that this electrolysis process and electrolyzer system needs. It can't use the power directly from the solar because it's too interim, so it needs that battery to operate. So without a power source, we're kind of stuck at this pause. And what does that mean? What it means is we are paying for extended warranties for equipment that we cannot commission. It means we're not producing hydrogen, which impacts our grants and the requirements associated with our grants. It also impacts our energy demand, right? So now we can't use that hydrogen, we can't use that oxygen, we can't use that waste heat right now. And it means all of our off-takers can't use this. So Niron Magnetics, I'm not sure how many know about Niron Magnetics, but it's a non-rare earth metal magnet manufacturer that's bringing a very large domestic manufacturing facility to our area. We actually provide service to that city, and they need a hydrogen supply for their manufacturing process. New Flyer of America is another example. example. They produce hydrogen fuel cell buses and they want to bring that to Minnesota. This hydrogen supply could bring that. Also for our public transit, we're working with University of Minnesota on how we can convert their combined or their CNG engines to be able to use hydrogen fuel to decarbonize that fuel source. Ultimately, it means we're not able to advance innovative renewable energy, is not able to bring that innovative manufacturing that needs hydrogen to Minnesota. It means delaying showing the world what we can be done when we're brave enough to try new things. Bring innovative manufacturing that needs that hydrogen. Energy resiliency advancements are needed now more than ever, and this impacts all ratepayers positively in so many different ways. This project could not match the criteria listed in Minnesota statutes 116C.779 more perfectly. Thank you again for including this in the Senate Omnibus bill and for your continued support for this first of its kind world project. Any questions?
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, Anderson Levinson Falk, and then after that on deck is Lori Schultz. Hello, Ms. Levinson Falk. Please state your name for the record and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Annie Levinson Falk, and I'm the Executive Director of the Citizens Utility Board of Minnesota, or CUB, which is a nonprofit that advocates for the state's utility consumers. And I'm here to speak in support of Senate File 4504. In particular, I want to express gratitude for the $15 million in funding for the Energy Assistance Program. Over the past about 4 years, the Citizens Utility Board has convened the broad coalition of energy providers, service organizations, community groups, and others that you see in the handout in your packet to bring forward this proposal. Just to be clear, CUB ourselves will not receive any funding from the bill. We don't administer the Energy Assistance Program, and we don't have any formal role in the program. However, we do get calls from many Minnesotans who are unable to keep up with their home energy costs. We have difficult conversations with people who are dealing with medical issues, the loss of a job, the need to care for family members, or other challenges, and we try to help people put together a plan to keep their homes warm and keep their power on through these kinds of situations, including helping them get connected with assistance when it's available. CUB's team might speak with more than 1,000 people this year about past due bills and utility disconnections, but unfortunately hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans are in these situations. And Minnesotans in total are behind on utility bills by more than $145 million. The committee had a full hearing on this proposal, the bill carried by Senator Dibble, prior to break, so I won't repeat all of the things that were discussed at that time, but I just reiterate that this funding will make a real difference for thousands of Minnesota households who are struggling to keep their utilities paid. And the $15 million commitment shows that this is a top priority for the chair and for this committee. At the same time, we all know that it's not sufficient to fully meet the need, and it may not be enough to allow the energy assistance to be made available through the summer months, which is when the majority of disconnections occur. So we encourage you to continue to advocate for as much funding as possible as the bill moves forward. Thank you, Senator Dibble, and for all of your hard work on this effort, and thank you, Chair Frentz, for securing this significant funding in your omnibus. We're committed to supporting you and to getting across the finish line this year with the maximum amount of funding that could be available.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Ms. Schultz next, and then following that, Willie Rohr. Hello, welcome to the Energy Committee. Please state your name for the record and you may begin.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I'm Lori Schultz. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Community Action Partnership. We represent the 24 different community action agencies across all 87 counties in Minnesota. Community action agencies deliver the majority of energy assistance across Minnesota. We are the front line of energy security for low-income households in every community. Thank you for your leadership in advancing energy assistance expansion. This is a smart, strategic investment in Minnesota's stability and economic health. I also want to thank Senator Dibble for his longstanding leadership and advocacy for energy assistance and community action. As a former executive director of a local community action agency that administers the Energy Assistance Program, I want to briefly ground us in what we see in every community. A working senior with a lower income comes into the Community Action Agency after receiving a shutoff notice. She's done everything right, but because of rising costs, force her to choose between heat or medications. Energy assistance kept her utilities on, but most importantly, it prevented a cascade. No hospitalization, no housing disruption, and no deeper public cost. That's the value of this program. It solves problems early before they become expensive crises. Right now, only about 1 in 4 eligible households receive help, and there's about 10 to thousands of households that face shutoffs every year. So by expanding this program with additional funding, it prevents crises instead of paying for the consequences. It strengthens the workforce stability, and it uses existing proven infrastructure across every county in our state. At its core, this is really about efficiency and long-term economic health. The need is already here. The investment in Minnesota is ready. We should do this instead of react. So thank you for investing in Minnesota and the communities. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your testimony, Mr. Willie Rahr, and then after that will be John Kren. Hello, welcome to the Energy Committee. Please state your name for the record. You may begin.
Thank you, Chair Frentz and members of the Senate Energy Committee. Thank you for your leadership and your continued commitment to Minnesota's energy future. My name is Willie Rahr. I'm the president and CEO of Rahr Corporation, a family-owned business based in Shakopee, Minnesota, and we're on our 179th year of being in business. I'm 5th generation. We produce and distribute malt used in breweries around the world. Just about any beer you likely enjoy contains some Rahr malt in it. Shakopee is the 2nd largest malting facility in the world on one infrastructure, and it is employing in Shakopee about 300 full-time employees. Malting is an energy-intensive process, which is why we built our Coda biomass facility to convert waste biomass into thermal energy. I'm here to thank you for the $3 million allocation from the Renewable Development Account and to emphasize why this is smart, targeted investment. This funding is a strong fit for the RDA because it directly supports energy production. It will allow us to install a wood chipper and grinder, dry bulk storage, and other infrastructure needed to convert emerald ash borer wood waste into biomass fuel. Without this investment, much of this material would continue to be openly burned or left to decay, wasting its energy potential. With it, we capture that energy and displace natural gas and strengthen Minnesota's energy resilience. At the same time, this addresses a growing burden on local communities and local governments. Communities across Minnesota are spending millions of dollars managing ash tree removal and disposal, with total statewide costs reaching tens of millions of dollars annually. Disposal sites are already at capacity, and the problem is only getting worse. Rahr is also committing significant private investment into this project, even as we operate the Coda biomass facility at a higher cost than if we burn natural gas. This is exactly what the RDA was designed to do, turn challenges into renewable energy solutions for the benefit of ratepayers and the state. Thank you very much for your support, and I'm happy to stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, John Kren.
Sorry.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record. You may begin.
Chair and members of the committee, my name is John Kren. I am the chair of the Legislative Committee at the Sierra Club North Star chapter. We represent 50,000 members and supporters working across the state to protect the environment. I'm here today to speak in opposition to some of the proposed appropriations in Article 2 of Senate File 4504. The problem proposals are contrary to the language and purpose of the statute that created the Renewable Development Account. There are two specific requirements of the statute that created the RDA that at least some of the appropriations do not meet. First, by statute, the RDA is supposed to be used for renewable energy electricity investments. Looking at the proposed appropriations, several have little or nothing to do with developing new electrical renewable energy like solar and wind. For example, the appropriations involving a nuclear study and natural gas do not fit that requirement. The second requirement of the Renewable Development Account statute is that the expenditures from the fund must benefit the XL ratepayers. It is a challenge to figure out how the XL ratepayers will benefit from some of these proposals, like the study of the feedstock for iron ore plants. I also note that several of the requests seem to have little in the way of detail or guardrails. The RDA statute's language calls for projects that have been carefully vetted. If you compare the detail in the St. Thomas and University of Minnesota requests with some of the other requests, such as the vague reference to green fertilizer, it seems questionable whether those proposals are appropriate under this statute. Finally, I'm surprised that there are not more appropriations from this renewables fund that would incentivize more solar, wind, and storage. With the federal government putting roadblocks on renewables, and with the data centers sucking up our electricity, Minnesota should be going the other way and spending tax dollars to incentivize more of the mainstream renewables like solar, wind, and storage. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your testimony. And next up, Amelia Voles. I don't think she's here then. Any other testifiers that would like to testify to the bill? With that, we will go to Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the testifiers. All great points. Mr. Chair, I propose that we have the A12 amendment to be adopted.
All right. Senator Frentz moves the A12 amendment. It should be in your packets, members. The A12 amendment. Any discussions or questions to the A12 amendment?
Mr. Chair, the A12 amendment
Senator
essentially corrects a technical error. Maybe Ms. Severson could explain it better.
Ms. Severson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Yes, the A12 just inserts two sections that were previously in the language from Senate File 4720, Senator Frentz's bill from the Department of Commerce. Those two sections were just inadvertently taken out, and this is just adding them back in. The two sections just extend the application deadline for the Solar for Public Building Grant Program.
Thank you for that, Ms. Severson. Senator Frentz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Severson. Simple enough technical correction for the omission, and would ask members to support. Happy to take further questions or comments.
Sorry, Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Frentz. We're seeing this earlier today, and we're trying to talk about what this was doing. So we did hear this part in your earlier bill in committee. I'm getting a head nod that the answer is yes on that. And then was this general fund money, or was this some special fund money that this was being used for?
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll ask Mr. Mueller, was it accidental omission, Senator Mathews, but Mr. Mueller will now address the finance part.
Mr. Mueller?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Mathews, this, like I said, this request came from the department's technical bill. It doesn't extend the length of the appropriation. The appropriation sits in a separate special revenue account and is available till spent. But the only issue is extending the amount of time that they can accept applications. This was originally a general fund, and I believe it had dual appropriations, and I'll double check after I'm done here, but I think it had money from both the general fund and from the RDA back in 2023's bill to fund this program.
Thank you. Senator Mathews. Any other questions or comments to the A12 amendment? With that, all in favor of the A12 amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. The A12 amendment is adopted. Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members welcome comments, amendments, discussion to the bill. Again, noting for the public, 27 letters in your packet, 25 in support of the bill. I appreciate the comments of the testifiers, and it is my intention to move this bill to the Finance Committee so further discussion can take place on any of the issues that you want. Having put on the amendments I want, Mr. Chair, ready to listen. Thank you.
All right, and then first up, Senator McEwen. I saw your hand first, and then Senator Groenhagen, you're next. Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I have the A16 amendment.
Senator McEwen offers the A16 amendment. And it should be in our packet here.
Did Senator Rarick leave already? Oh, he did, okay.
Senator McEwen, could you go over your A16 amendment?
He's still here. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The A16 amendment is the solar plug-in solar bill that some of us are familiar with. This is a bill that has been presented by Senator Kupek. Plug-in solar, as we know, is a bipartisan initiative, very popular already in other parts of the world. I think Utah just passed some legislation, again, supported across party lines. What it's meant to do is to allow more easily installed solar. So it's a really good entryway for people to have solar, to be able to produce their own energy in their home, to save money. This amendment, which is an iteration of Senator Kupek's bill with the addition of a change on the second page, we added a little bit of a change in discussion with some representatives from labor to try to make sure that everybody's on board with this. So the particulars may still have some tweaking, but I think this is in really good shape. I think it should be broadly supported. It's a great way for people to save money, and we'd love to see it move forward. So that's it.
Thank you, Senator McEwen. Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator McEwen. I think the addition that's been made here is exactly what Senator Rarick and others were asking about. Essentially, what we're saying is it must comply with the manufacturer's installation. And so, members, I would consider this now a friendly amendment, and I realize Senator Rarick is not here. So if, members, we do put this on, you have my blessing that we will discuss it as it goes forward, but the chair will be a yes vote on the A16 amendment. Thank you, Senator McEwen. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, sorry, Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Senator Rarick had to leave early for another commitment, but he asked me to provide some information to the committee about this topic again, and we actually talked about this once or twice earlier this week already as well. So he's been working on this issue. Senator Rarick has had many discussions with Dolly, with IBEW, with NECA, the National Electrical Code, co-ops and munis. He has a commitment that Dolly will be presenting this to the State Board of Electricity to discuss at their next meeting. He also knows that it's been submitted as a subject to discuss to the NEC for consideration in their next code review. And the UL 3700 listings is still not a complete source to cite here in this amendment. And so he says this is just too soon to include this for state statute. There are other processes that need to be followed to ensure that it's properly put into place, as he went over very thoroughly with code book in hand in the committee. So he's a no on it. I agree with him. We're a no on this. This is too soon with it, and we should let our code and board experts be able to work this over. So with your position on that, Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask for a roll call on this amendment.
A roll call being requested. Roll call will be given. Senator Klein.
Mr. Chair, so I actually conceptually really support this idea. It sounds great to me, but I must admit that my body of knowledge about the risks entailed do not come close to Senator Rarick's. And I am concerned, Mr. Chair, that he continues to have safety concerns about us moving forward. I don't feel competent to sort of overrule his authority on that question. Can you provide me any reassurance about how you'll continue to work with Senator Rarick going forward to alleviate his concerns?
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Klein. I have about the same level of sophistication on this stuff as you do. I do defer to Senator Rarick. In this case, I've not discussed it with him directly, but take Senator Mathews at his word. I'm still a yes, and I have a pledge out to all the advocates that this has to continue as a conversation. I was not aware until today that Senator Rarick is taking some steps to make those manufacturer recommendations complied with, and as we're going to have a little stop in finance, I certainly intend to keep discussing it, and I did talk to Senator McEwen today, not to put words in your mouth, Senator, but I think she has the same intention. So I'm comfortable with a yes vote today, notwithstanding additional conversation that's got to take place.
All right. Senator Gruenhagen.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I guess I am about as sophisticated as the rest of you, and therefore I do rely on Senator Rarick, so I hope that if this would pass, which I hope it doesn't, that you'll work with him. Secondly, how does this interact with net metering? You know, the other thing that is of concern to my rural co-ops is the net metering principle that we're allowing individuals to use the solar or other types of electricity generation, and yet there seems to be a lack of participation in the cost of maintaining the grid and other expenses associated with it. So my question would be, how does that interact?
Thank you. Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Gruenhagen. In the bill, you'll see that there's an exemption from the net metering provisions. So glad to report that net metering does not apply. This also is not energy that's going back onto the grid, so that our concern would always be, if we're sending energy back onto the grid, do we have the cooperation and approval of the utility, of ratepayer advocates like CUB? In this case, this is simply something that someone could choose to put on their balcony and would not have any net metering implications. They're not selling any energy.
Thank you. Senator Gruenhagen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, again, I'm not very sophisticated in this area either. But so if they generate excess electricity from this, what happens to it?
Senator Frentz.
Oh.
The excess energy does not go back on the grid and is wasted, much like we see curtailment of wind energy in southwestern Minnesota, simply does not get used, but that is at the expense of the party that put it on the balcony.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm
Senator Gruenhagen. Senator Klein.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to follow the tradition of voting with the chair in support of this provision, but I want to just put on the record my deep concerns that we haven't resolved the safety concerns of Senator Rarick, who knows a lot about this subject, and I do fervently urge you to work with him going forward.
All right. Any other comments? With that, we will go to the vote on the A16 amendment. Senator, to staff for the roll call.
Chair Frentz?
Yes.
Senator Zhang?
Yes.
Senator Mathews?
No.
Senator Dibble?
Yes.
Senator Green?
No.
Senator Gruenhagen?
No.
Senator Hoffman? Senator Klein?
Yes.
Senator McEwen?
Yes.
Senator Rarick? Senator Weber?
No.
Senator Hoffman? Senator Rarick?
All right, there being 5 yes votes and 4 no votes, the amendment is adopted. Next up, Senator, I think you called Senator Gruenhagen, you were next on the list.
What was I up for?
Amendment? Did you have an amendment, Senator Gruenhagen?
No,
Okay. Senator Mathews?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to offer the A8 amendment, which I believe will need to be distributed.
All right, as it's being distributed, Senator Mathews, did you want to go over your amendment for us? Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. So the A8 amendment was a bill that I drafted and thought we would get a chance to get a hearing this year for some changes for the data center law that we ended up passing last year. I went last year from the introducing the data center bill to voting against the final package because of how it ended up going and how it changed over the course of the session. We had a really good hearing on that and passed it out of this committee. Unfortunately, it got used from there. A lot of incorrect assertions were made about my district and about the project that were completely devoid and detached from the truth or from reality of what it was going to do. When we were looking for a very narrow certificate of need exemption for behind the meter generation to let a project go forward. You and I sat in a forum in the off session, Mr. Chair, when I talked about this and hammered on this issue and the bill that had passed, and you leaned over and said, count me in on doing work for the host communities here. I still have the piece of paper here from the notebook that I had that day where I wrote that down. Count me in, Senator Frentz. And we talked about this bill several times throughout the session. The goal was to take some of the same provisions and make them broader to the host communities and not specifically to Becker, not have it be general statewide, but a lot of the same certificate of need part, as well as some carve-outs for host communities to last year's bill. And so thought at several points this year there were discussions made that we would at least get a hearing on this. And then unfortunately that plan changed a couple of weeks ago. So I'm here with this amendment, and I have a request for the chair that Mr. LaRude, our Becker City Administrator, did bring some testimony from the Becker mayor, who wasn't able to be here today. But if you would allow him a couple of minutes to come and share the city's perspective on this issue, I would greatly appreciate it.
Certainly. Is it Mr. LaRude? Welcome to the Energy Committee. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. My name is Greg LaRude. I'm the Becker City Administrator, and I want to thank Senator Mathews for offering the A8 amendment, as well as ongoing commitment to the city of Becker for helping stabilize our local economy. Becker has already experienced 1 unit of Sherco closing. The planned retirement of the other 2 units over the next 5 years will result in a loss of 65% of our property tax base. We do appreciate the past support of the state through the state-bonded funding improvement project in our industrial park, along with energy transition aid to soften the loss of tax base. More recently, our community has played the part in siting of the largest solar energy development in Minnesota at 4,000 acres and growing. In addition, we have explored the hosting of a data center. Through this process, we've learned many valuable lessons that position us to be able to host a project in the most sustainable and responsible manner. We are ready, willing, and able to lead in this area. In addition to suitable sites for data center, our city has the local expertise necessary for this, and our decades of experience in hosting industrial partners while being insistent on protecting our natural resources has positioned us very well. We value the nearly 300 acres of parkland, and we value both the Mississippi and Elk Rivers that form the boundaries of our city. Today, I respectfully ask the committee members to provide my community with the regulatory certainty to be able to pursue these opportunities, and I'm confident that Becker can play host to a data center in a sustainable manner. Our goal in this process is not to be dependent on energy transition aid for the next 20 years, but rather to support new business construction, including data center construction, that can leave us free from state aid dependence and provide benefits to both Becker and the state. Thank you for allowing me my comments.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator Mathews or Senator Gruenhagen?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, you know, I had two individuals with data centers in my office. They are proposing a major data center in my district. So I had questions for them based on last year, I believe it was last year's testimony. And one of the questions that came up from last year's testimony was the use of groundwater and to what degree that would affect groundwater in a rural area. And I was interested in their response. They said that new technology now can treat the water they need on these data centers like a car radio or a car radiator. So they can simply recycle and cleanse that water rather than constantly draining new water. So that was their response. Because I had that concern. I just see in this amendment 100 million gallons per year. And I'm just wondering if that would apply to this particular project, because I do think that's where some of the pushback comes. I've kind of paid attention in the news and some of the reports on that. The other thing I had a concern about in my district, and overall I do support these data centers. I think they're the future, and they generate huge amount of revenues for the counties and the cities that they're located in, as long as electricity demand can be met, because they run 24/7, is location to residential area. Because I have a smaller data center in one of my cities, and happens to be across the street from my brother-in-law. So I'm no longer invited to family reunions, but that's another story. But it bugs, the noise irritates them, let's put it that way. And they've had decibel studies and everything else, and I think they're 3 decibels over the state limit, which is 50 decibels, if I remember right. So, but they were very eager to respond to both of those concerns. And I see this project as also taking that into consideration. I mean, most of us have seen some of the news reports about where data centers were located and where the pushback came from local communities. And there is a series of permits that they have to go through, is my understanding. So I think we should support this, especially with what we're doing with unnecessarily with the Sherco plants, in my opinion. I think it's a disaster to shut those 3 down, but we can't solve that today, I don't think. So, but I'd encourage a yes vote on this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of comments, and first off, I do want to say that it's interesting to hear the discussion and presentation of this amendment, and noting that after the debate and discussion we had last year, we did end up with a data center bill, and to hear a colleague say that he did not vote for it for the reasons that he had, and I also did not vote for it because I did not feel that it was protective enough of Minnesotans and our economy. So it's just sort of an interesting thing to take note of. I do want to also make a record when we're talking about a particular community considering whether they want a data center. I think that's a important thing for that community to weigh in on. And last year at the beginning of these debates, perhaps even against my better judgment, I offered a couple of times at different levels to say, you know, could we just make this about this community? I know that this community is seeking this. Could we make these particular exceptions that they're seeking just for them, but that was rejected a couple of times. And instead, what's right for Becker might not be right for Hermantown, might not be right for other communities that are facing these decisions about whether to take on these hyperscale centers. So I just wanted to make a record of that. And then also, Mr. Chair, just procedurally, as Vice Chair of the Environment Committee, I noted that a number of provisions in the A8 would touch on the environment jurisdiction. And so procedurally, if this amendment were to be added to this omnibus bill, I would be talking with the Environment Chair, Chair Herr, and we would need to see that. So just procedurally, I wanted to make a record of that as well. Thank you.
Senator Dibble, then we'll go to Senator Frentz. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just also take note of the fact that, Senator Frentz did spend a lot of time last year working through this proposal with a lot of interests at the table, working on different elements and with different ideas in mind. And there was a lot that had to be sorted through. And a compromise proposal was arrived at, and a data center bill was passed on a bipartisan basis. And some provisions and some solutions were identified that allowed that to pass, including, what you see in page 7 here, section 8, asking that those who are coming in and building these large-scale or hyperscale data centers help us avoid some of the consequences and impacts that other states have seen with respect to electricity pricing and utility prices, especially for those who struggle to pay their bills. And we see that we were asking for some funds to be provided. Sounds like a lot of money, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million, depending on the size of the data center. But when you consider that these data centers are approaching $1 billion and they're making many hundreds of millions, if not billions, in profit. They have billions stored in offshore accounts in cash just sitting there. I was wondering if this was even sufficient, to make a difference. And these funds would go to energy and conservation efforts in pre-weatherization, weatherization, et cetera, on behalf of folks who need that kind of help. We have a little bit of pre-weatherization money in this bill. We have energy assistance in this bill. The rate at which we're doing weatherization and pre-weatherization is necessitated is going to take us like 300 years to get to all of the housing stock in our state. And this would exempt a large-scale data center that files an application before January 1st of 2035 for another 10 years or so. There would be no obligation to support and uphold this, what I think was a good element of compromise that allowed that data center bill to get across the finish line. So appreciate what Senator Mathews is trying to accomplish, but it unwinds, I think, a lot of hard work from last year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Mathews. You can count on me to continue to try to find ways to help host communities in general and Becker in particular, including the exemption of the certificate of need for the diesel generators, which did not put me in the most popular chair in my caucus at that time. I see Senator McEwen laughing, but I think, Senator McEwen, you make the right point. We passed data center provisions last year, and we had people on both sides who were very unhappy. And out in the real world, where a lot of Minnesotans don't know the name of their state senator and they don't really care, I noticed a couple of communities that love Minnesota just as much as Becker. First of all, the community of North Mankato, where I live, had a data center on the drawing board, got knocked out. Those were concerns that included disclosure of city officials, but this is a capitalist system. The developer chose not to build there. The impacts on the city of North Mankato's property tax base are so profound that I'll get in trouble with my city council if I actually tell you how much money it is. But property taxes are a very serious matter. Where I live, people don't have a lot of money, and we're not getting a data center right now. Senator McEwen, I know you referred to Hermantown, and I don't blame you. People up there were really upset. So we've got a wide variety of reactions in Minnesota to data centers. I get that. We're going to have to struggle through it, and that's our job here on this committee. Senator Dibble, your point about the low-income weatherization is well taken, but I also want to draw attention to one thing that happened in another community, which is Pine Island. Google's building a data center in Pine Island, plans to meet these criteria that we set last year. 1,600 megawatts of clean energy, and they're paying for every cent of it. That's more energy than some of our programs that we've run out of this committee for a decade is building. And while I sympathize with my brothers and sisters in North Mankato and Becker, and while I wait to find out what's going to happen in Hermantown, let's face it, that's a success. And Senator Dibble, that particular project is going to put $5 million into the low-income weatherization work that you've been such a champion for. I consider that a reasonable result. Not every community is going to have them. Senator Mathews, you have my promise to keep working on Becker and on host communities. I don't have a magic bullet for this, but if we adopt the A8, to Senator McEwen's point, this bill is dead. The RDA provisions are dead. They're going to go off to environment, and if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Severson, they're going to go to taxes as well. If you know the deadlines that we're facing here, we will not meet deadline in finance, and the entire omnibus bill will go down. And for that reason, I'm not able to support the A8. I am willing to pledge my public support for continuing to ask not just Becker, but other host communities, what can we do? It can't be in this bill, and in my vote, I can't vote yes on the A8 amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to ask for a roll call on the amendment.
A roll call being requested. A roll call will be given.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. So I appreciate the discussion on this, and I know that you and I have talked on this vigorously at times on this. My community's looking for actions. We've gotten a lot of words, we've gotten a lot of platitudes, gotten a lot of verbiage, but we need actions. And the bill that had, last year's bill that had a couple good pieces in it and a bunch of bad pieces that were in it, ended up killing the project that was in my community. And I've just sat here astounded all session when members come up and they are so frustrated and flustered by the surprise nature of other projects. And I keep pointing to, I had my community down here that tried to do it right and got treated horribly by members on this committee and members in this chamber and killed my project. And then you want to turn around and gripe about how something's done with a little more secrecy and not disclosed. Do you want to blame them for that after they see the treatment that other communities have gotten who've tried to do it right? That's why I keep raising heck over this issue and keep pushing back. This bill has some of the pieces that we did try to work on last year and undoing some of the problematic pieces that were in last year's bill. And so I get that you'll keep stating, yep, work on, things that we can do to do it. But at one point the statement was made, count me in, and a vote on this is showing we're going in the opposite direction of that. So I'm urging members to, and I'll close on this, since about 10 years ago when the Sherco plans got revealed and the process for the closures started going underway, my community in Becker has come up 3 times with major proposals of what would be put there to try to help alleviate this fiscal cliff that they're about to drop off of. And every time people sitting in cushy chairs and air-conditioned offices here in St. Paul say, no, we know better than you, and have shut it down 3 times in a row. And so that's why my community's here again talking about it, talking about Liberty Paper and everything else, because real harm is coming and a lot of you still won't listen. And that's the unfortunate part. And that's why I'm asking members to vote yes on this amendment.
Senator Gruenhagen.
Yeah, I usually don't like to speak from the author of the amendment, but I would just offer, believe it or not, a compromise. Okay, if you don't want to accept this, and thanks for the testimony, Senator Mathews, of what has gone through for Becker here, why not extend the closure of the Sherco plants several years until they can get this straightened out? I mean, is that a possible compromise out of this? so that they don't have to lose all these jobs, plus the plants being closed. I mean, that's what they're facing within 5 years. If we extended it to 7 or 10, that would give some wiggle room at least. I don't know, just a thought.
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Senator Gruenhagen. I'm open to all ideas. Obviously, we cannot do that in an amendment because it would obligate an investor-owned utility. And Senator Mathews, I think you do a great job fighting for your communities. I hope all of us fight as hard for the towns in our district as you're fighting for Becker. So tell those folks the Democrat chair said thumbs up to Senator Mathews' battle. Senator Gruenhagen, I'd add, Amazon pulled out of Becker before the data center provisions were passed last year, and I hope they come back. They've got infrastructure there, they got great people, and they've testified before this committee that Sherco shutting down is a 40% hit to their school district. I think that's something Minnesotans want to know. But if you think adopting the A8 would send it back to environment, imagine what keeping Sherco open would do. We'll be here 10 or 12 years just to get this thing through. And I think this omnibus bill has real benefit, including the money for Becker and the study. So I'm still a no on the A8. Happy to continue the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I would be willing to stay here another 12 years if we could straighten it out, okay? No.
Senator Gruenhagen.
Oh, just, you know, you're putting this community in a vice, though. You know, it's not my district, but if it was, I can see the frustration. I mean, they're facing a 5-year cutoff of all the Sherco plants, and then they're being frustrated on this end to try to replace that. I mean, and they're trying to come in good faith. You know, I don't know if maybe we could make it just for Becker or something. I don't know. Let's help them out. I mean, this is a nice community. I played golf up there already, and like you said, it's a 40% hit to their school district. And the school district's already studying because all the mandates we passed, and I won't say who did it, but the thing is, we haven't helped them out. So maybe we could just help them out a little bit since we caused a lot of the problems. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, staff will take the roll.
Chair Frentz?
No.
Senator Zhang?
No.
Senator Mathews?
Yes.
Senator Dibble?
No.
Senator Green?
Yes.
Senator Gruenhagen?
Yes.
Senator Hoffman? Senator Klein?
No.
Senator McEwen?
No.
Senator Rarick? Senator Weber?
Yes.
Senator Hoffman? Senator Rarick?
There being 4 yes votes and 5 no votes, the motion does not prevail. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to offer the A18 amendment, which I think needs to be passed out. Oh, it is in the packet. Oh,
Looks like it's in the packet, Senator Dibble.
wow, you snuck it in there.
To your amendment, Senator
All right.
Dibble.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. So what this would do would modify the energy assistance program funding slightly. That would be responsive to the observation that Ms. Levinson-Falk provided in her testimony, indicating that with the amount of money that we're discussing here, an additional $15 million for that purpose, it would be difficult to expand that support for energy bill payments across the entire year, so through the summer months, which is unfortunate, something that we will continue to work on at some future point in time. So this would delete lines 13 and 14, which says that the commissioner must accept grant applications and award grants under this section throughout the year. And then it would change the word must to may in saying when awarding grants under this section, the commissioner give priority to expanding the number of households, et cetera. So it says that's a more permissive language to that end. And then I'll just note for the committee members, you know, we had a lot of discussion about the administrative elements of the bill that has been removed from what you find in this omnibus. And of course, those elements were responsive to the effort to stand up and extend the program throughout the year. Obviously not going to happen under this scenario, so this would be that change. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Dibble. Any other member? Senator Frentz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Dibble. I consider the A18 to be a friendly amendment, and I want to commend you, Senator Dibble, for taking Commerce's, input and trying to come up with something that's better. And so I would ask members to support the A18.
Senator Gruenhagen?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have a target for this committee?
Senator Frentz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do not have an agreed-upon target with our friends across the street at all, and we have some proposals here in the omnibus bill that you can total up if you want. I can have Mr. Miller walk through it, but Senator Dibble's bill came through committee at 40 million of energy assistance. It's now 15. The word target gets tossed around here a lot. I guess I would say I expect this to pass the Finance Committee with the current general fund appropriations and RDA in it, and invite Mr. Mueller to give you any more detail if you want.
Sure.
Mr. Mueller.
Mr. Chair and Senator Gruenhagen, currently the Senate is operating with the Finance Committee and the divisions without set targets. So the level of spending that's in this bill right now is for the general fund, it's $15 million. And then for the RDA, it's $36 million of spending and then $4 million of lost revenue. That is the amount that currently is being sent to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee will deal with the overall, but there is not set targets for each committee this year.
Senator Gruenhagen?
Oh, thank you. That was my understanding, but I wasn't for sure because I'd heard it through the rumor mill. The other thing is, is the House dealing with these, or are we going to be at odds?
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Gruenhagen. I love the question. We've had a lot of conversations with the House. All of us serve on other committees where we're talking with the House. We simply do not have an agreement yet on spending, and it's open season on your prediction. But I'm hopeful that we will get an agreement on RDA and on some spending. And I encourage members of this committee to ask their brothers and sisters in the House, if we can't get an agreement on renewable development account spending, which is at $51 million now. In other words, we took the money from ratepayers and it's doing nothing for anybody. We're just going to have the next legislature, whoever's lucky enough to be back up here, with $85 million. And I think the ratepayers would be outraged to say you took it out of our pockets and did nothing with it. That's worst case scenario. So if you have any friends across the street, you should say, hey, what about a little RDA spending? And on the general fund spending, open to the debate that we have. I'm hoping we get to conference committee, but the House is not even committed to an omnibus bill yet in the energy division.
Senator Gruenhagen.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for that explanation, Senator Frentz. I don't have a lot of friends. Something about my personality, I guess. but here, I just want to say this. I want to help people who can't pay their bills because we're artificially inflating the cost. And by the way, if you want to, I was going to send some videos around on why solar and wind drive up electricity cost. You can go to the Center for the American Experiment and also Prager University, which is a national organization. They have excellent engineers and scientists who show the sleight of hand in how this is being worked to cover up the inflated prices, and how the states that have gone full tilt on this, like California and New Jersey, have some of the highest electricity rates in the nation. So I'd encourage you to get a second opinion. But anyway, the other thing I just bring out is that when you increase the state budget at 40%, okay, which the Democrats did in a 2-year period when they were in complete control, and then you raise taxes another $9 to $10 billion, and then we're facing a structural deficit, I can see why the House says, hey, wait a minute. We can't keep digging a hole here and then raising taxes and chasing people out of this state, taxpayers who are, the lobbyist, one of the key lobbyists that I've known since I've been up here. She just retired, and her husband, very successful. Guess what they did? They moved to Florida, right? And because they want to get out of the taxes. And I got friends doing the same thing. So we got to have some fiscal sanity along with addressing the fraud. The fraud allegations are between $9 and $19 billion. over a period of years. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. And then we expect the taxpayers to keep up their income at 40%. I asked taxpayers, did your income go up 40% so you could support us up here? No, I haven't found a single taxpayer in my district whose income went up 40%, like the state budget did. It's an expense on the private sector. You're chasing the successful out and drawing in the dependent. And let's get rid of the 2040 nonsense. Okay, other than that, I don't have an opinion.
Thank you. Senator Frentz, any final comments on Senator Dibble, your amendment? All right, with that, we will go to a vote on the A18 amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The A18 amendment is adopted. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to offer the A17 amendment.
Senator Dibble offers the A17 amendment, and I think it's also in the packet.
It is.
Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. The A17 would just add some elements to study the new nuclear power, new nuclear generation study that's being proposed. Mr. Chair, my goal is to ensure that some questions are asked that I think need answers. Some of the themes that you'll see in the A17 are questions that I've raised in this committee in years past as we've discussed and debated the lifting of the nuclear moratorium. While I appreciate that, the proposal here is not to lift the nuclear moratorium, but to answer some questions, particularly on modular nuclear. I think, it's been argued that we shouldn't be afraid of information. I don't disagree with that statement. We shouldn't be afraid of information. We should be sure, though, that the study is truly objective and all of the relevant questions are asked. And so, I won't read through it all necessarily, but I'll just, kind of hit the highlights. Again, trying to make sure that the study is actually objective. That who's ever conducting this study on our behalf is doing so with actual independence, that there's a comparative to alternatives, that we're looking at the entirety of the cost, risk, and accounting, finding out what the ratepayer and public finance protections and or implications are, strengthening our environmental and health analysis, what are some of the real, some of the substantial issues around nuclear waste, what is the implication for integrating into our grid and our larger systems, what is, does this actually uphold the climate goals that are being claimed for nuclear, what are the deployment timelines, some issues around community consent and local control, emergency preparedness and cost feasibility of that, let's take a look at multiple scenarios and then let's make sure that study is transparent. I'll just mention quickly that a lot of the existing language was developed in conversation and negotiation with Prairie Island. They've taken a look at this language. They might be comfortable with the elements that are changed slightly that they really care about, but they want more time to think about that. So we changed the language as it appears in the omnibus back to the original language. I'm texting as we speak with the trades, and they would like some adjustments to that. I think it might be hard to do that here on the fly, but I will commit publicly into the microphone to the trades that I'll work with you, Senator Frentz, to make some of those adjustments to some of this language. As we move forward, they're concerned that some of this language might make the study a little too freighted and hard to do, to turn in some results by this time next year. In initial concern, they articulated that this was maybe tilting it in the other direction. I'll just say that is not my goal. My goal is to truly get these questions answered in an above board and objective way. One of the elements that may slow it down and maybe overkill is, peer review, those sorts of things. We can absolutely work on all those things with you, Mr. Chair, as we move our way to to the next stop.
Thank you, Senator Dibble. Senator Frentz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Dibble. The amount of work you put in on this in the last few days is impressive. I know what you want, same as me. Let's see what we can do here, and I support the spirit of it. I would ask Mr. Chair and members if we could have Blake Johnson from Prairie Island come forward, give a minute or two of testimony. Would not be possible for me to support an amendment that Prairie Island was openly opposed to, but maybe Senator Dibble, they've got some comments that'll help inform the committee. And as Senator Mathews is the chief author of the underlying bill, welcome any input from Senator Mathews on the A18. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Certainly welcome to the Energy Committee. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Blake Johnson. I'm the Government Relations Specialist for Prairie Island Indian Community and also a tribal member. I would like to thank the chair and the committee members for the ability to come up and speak on this matter today and this amendment. I want to make it clear that Prairie Island Indian Community does support a study on nuclear energy, but it is dependent on 4 essential elements being included in the bill. They are environmental and local community health impact, spent nuclear fuel waste, including how much waste would be produced, and the potential for reprocessing. Effects on local emergency response preparedness, and best practices for local community acceptance. If the legislature wishes to include or discuss other unrelated issues, Prairie Island has no position on those at this time. So just to reflect again, those 4 key areas are important to Prairie Island if a study is to move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Frentz.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for the work you and your community have put in. I have to ask it this way. Does Prairie Island have a position on this amendment?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. I believe at this time, we haven't had the accurate amount of time to communicate with our tribal council and get a response. I think we are open to having conversations and looking at what that looks like, but at this time I can't have a response on that.
Thank you, Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Can I assume that we have Prairie Island's pledge to engage with Senator Dibble, Senator Mathews on the language if the amendment is not adopted today between now and its next stop?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair, I believe that, we are always open to discussion. We are always open to having conversation and engaging. And I believe that, for us to have an opinion, those of 4 essential areas are the key aspects of what we see in the study.
Certainly. Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much for this. I wonder if you could reaffirm for us the 4 provisions, because I want to make sure that I get the wording that you're using. And I also wanted to just make sure on the record, is it the position of the Prairie Island community that they are in support of the language for this study of nuclear as it is currently in the bill? Thanks.
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair and Senator, yes, I'll go through the 4 essential areas. First would be the environmental and local community health impact. Spent nuclear fuel waste, including how much waste would be produced and the potential for reprocessing. Effects on local emergency response preparedness and best practices for local community acceptance. And so those are the areas that we have had the time and ability to make sure are a part of a study. As the question relates to, do we support the current language? Yes, as it sits right now. I think, as I stated earlier, any other language that the legislature wants to take up, I think is amongst yourselves to decide. But these 4 key areas are important to be included for our support.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any other questions from members? Senator Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that the author of the amendment is just finishing up another conversation here. So would you answer a question for me?
Certainly.
Senator Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm reading this, and the first thing I thought of was on starting on page 1, but going on down. You're going to have to look at a full life cycle cost, including capital, financing cost, construction cost. I haven't looked far enough down here to see if there's any cost analysis for the lifetime. We do know that nuclear plants last a long time. Did any of these kind of provisions go into the thinking before we passed solar and wind, which are now we're dealing with the residue from those things that have failed after 15 years?
Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Green. I disagree. I think there was a lot of analysis and study of solar and wind, and we're seeing, and we've heard from Mr. Wyckoff, cheapest source of electricity we have right now is wind.
Senator Green.
And I've heard that time and again, but when you look at the reality of how much wind and solar is actually being put to use, that's completely false. And we have the backup on for natural gas to have to back up the wind and solar because it never gets, or not always gets produced when we need it, and there's still no storage. So I think that if we're going to be talking about studying life cycles and what the cost is going to be, we need to go back and look at what it's cost us already.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm wondering, Senator Frentz, are you making a public decision on this amendment yet at this time, or I see a lot of discussion still going on.
Sorry, would you like to continue, Senator Mathews?
I'll make a couple other comments, but I'll ask for that question to be answered at some point when the author of the bill is ready. So a lot of work has gone into the underlying article that's already in this omnibus bill. I know the House did a lot of work on it. There's a lot of things that could have been done better communication-wise between me as the Senate author and those working on it in the House and all of that. But rightly or wrongly, we got to where we are today. And when I sat down with the lobbyist from the tribe and tried to work on it, I mean, the position was pretty clear. The language that we've got worked out with the House is basically the only language that we've got that we're supporting right now. And that was made clear by you, Mr. Chair, when we were working on this. Basically, your options are hear the House bill or nothing, and there won't be a hearing on this issue at all. So if we're now a couple weeks later and going, well, maybe now we'll consider other versions or other language or whatever, that's going to be a quite interesting change of circumstances. So I think I'd urge the committee, I think we need to stick with what's in the underlying bill. I'm a no on this amendment, and I'm hopeful that you'll make your position clear on what you're intending to do with this.
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Mathews. I'm with you. I cannot vote yes on an amendment that Prairie Island opposes, and where we have been on the same page the last month is that that is the community most affected by the placement of nuclear waste, and without their support for language, I would not be able to support it. We are trying to figure out exactly where that line is drawn with this amendment. It is suggested that this amendment does not violate the 4 core principles. And so members of the committee, I think it's important material. I think we have to ask ourselves, does this have the support of Prairie Island or not? I have been texting them, asking, can we get a little bit more direct input? And we're hoping for it. It may be possible, Mr. Chair, for us to recess for 5 minutes, but I cannot support the amendment, Senator Mathews, without the support of Prairie Island Indian community. With that, Mr. Chair. Happy to have further discussion.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if a recess is necessary. You know, I've had substantial communication with Prairie Island at your request and you know, and also my initiative, because I care a lot as well about the Prairie Island's position. And the agreement, which, you know, I will, the agreement is that the language that they care about, this is what Mr. Johnson said, the language that they care about on those 4 elements remains untouched, with the proviso that, perhaps it could be worked on a little bit more in the future, if in fact the language I had come up with actually gets to their points in a more coherent and comprehensive way. But in any case, for today's purposes, the language that Mr. Johnson enumerated remains untouched in your A3 amendment. And they are neutral. They have no position on the remainder of the language in A17. So they don't support the A17. They have no position on the A17. In other words, they do not object to it because the elements that they care about are untouched, remain literally verbatim as they have negotiated in the underlying A3 amendment.
Senator
Frentz. That's the state of play. That's where we're at. So I think that's what Mr. Johnson was trying to say. He's not in a position to endorse the A17 because it doesn't care about the A17. He's satisfied that the language that Prairie Island cares about remains as they like it in the A3.
Senator Frentz, or then I'll go to Senator Mathews.
Let's have Senator Mathews first. Senator Dibble, while I go to Senator Mathews, let me just say, I wish that was more clear that they were neutral on your amendment. I wasn't positive that that's what the testimony is, and I don't think I'm the only member of the committee who has that question. We are simply trying to clarify one of the important stakeholders, and I think it's worth a couple minutes discussion to make sure we get it right, also honoring my promise to support Prairie Island in this process.
Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Frentz and Senator Dibble. And then the other discussion that you're not bringing up in this is there's another body that this has to get through. And I have a hunch, though I don't know for sure, but I have a hunch that the House authors probably don't have any of this and might not even know that we're considering such big changes to what was presented as this has to be what we all agree on with this. And I don't know, but I have my doubts that even if you think it meets the 4 principles or any of that, you've got another chamber that this has to get through in order to get this done. And making some pretty big changes after a lot of stakeholder work went into it probably makes that less likely to happen. And I'm very close to roll calling this, depending on how this ends up moving forward. So you planning to take a recess, or what's the path forward at this point?
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Senator Mathews. Yeah, I think this is a situation where we better have some conversation and a recess and make sure we get it right. And I think a roll call is very appropriate for this discussion. Folks, this is a topic that's been in this committee's purview for years. We have twice passed a nuclear study that did not become law. We have a lot of Minnesotans who want us to take a closer look, and it may be inconvenient, although I notice we only have the room till 2:50. But if we have to take a few minutes to recess and talk this through, I think it's better to do it now to make sure we stick to our principles, which is we want Prairie Island support. So that's my answer, Senator Mathews, and
Senator
back to you,
McEwen.
Mr. Chair.
I'll request a roll call, Mr. Chair.
Roll call being requested. A roll call will be given. Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure that for people who may not have a copy of the A17, that they're able to be looking at, maybe they're listening to our committee hearing online. As I look through the A17, what I see the biggest impact is that what the language right now sets forward is the legislature deciding that the Great Plains Institute will be the entity that carries out this study. But the A17 that's been presented by Senator Dibble makes it more neutral. So the legislature doesn't handpick an entity that may or may not have certain biases or certain things that they want to advance, but directs that the study needs to be performed by a neutral party. It sets out a lot of criteria that is designed for transparency, designed to enhance the integrity and people's trust that there is integrity in the study, that it is neutral, that it doesn't have a bias going in. And I really appreciate that change being made because, like Senator Dibble had stated, I also am very open to wanting to learn more about nuclear, about the prospect of I have some constituents and people around the state who are very excited about the prospect of new technology emerging in nuclear, and I also would like to learn more about it. And I think a study like this would be very, very valuable. But if the study comes from an organization that is perceived to have some type of bias, or if there aren't these measures of independence and accountability, I think that will really impact also not just my trust in the integrity of the study, but others as well. So I just want to make sure, as we're talking about, numbers, and we're talking about the language and whether the Prairie Island community is on board with these changes, I just want to make sure that Minnesotans understand what it is that we're actually debating around this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think with that, we will take a 5-minute recess. The State Senate Energy Committee will come back to order. We were on the A-17 amendment from Senator Dibble. I don't know if Senator Frentz wanted to begin it, kick us off.
Thank
Senator
you, Mr.
Frentz.
Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. These are worthy discussions, and I would like to have Mr. Johnson from Prairie Island come back to the testifier stand to comment on the amendment.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you're popular today. Mr. Johnson, please state your name for the record, and you may begin again.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair and committee members. Blake Johnson, Government Relations Specialist for the Prairie Island Indian Community. I want to just clarify a little bit about the A17 amendment. My comments earlier reflect the 4 essential pieces of language that are currently in the bill. As long as those pieces are included and as long as those pieces are untouched, we have no position on amendments or are neutral on any other matter. Those 4 key issues represent discussions and communication that we've had with our community members and some of the key areas and understanding that are important to understand more on. So, Mr. Chair and members, we are neutral on the A17 amendment as long as there's no changes to the current 4 areas that are of importance to us.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. My question is very simple. If the A17 is adopted, does Prairie Island support the bill as amended?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair and Senator, if the amendment is adopted onto the bill, and as we see it, there's no changes to those 4 elements, Prairie Island is still in support of the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Frentz. Any other member comments? Senator Klein.
Mr. Chair, this feels very unparliamentary to me. This is a hugely inflammatory issue that was negotiated at some length by several interested parties. As you have mentioned, it has been legislated repeatedly previously and has not made it into law. This amendment, which is lengthy and is not simply moving this to an independent third party, but is creating numerous pages of additional stipulations on the nuclear study, was posted at 10:06 this morning. It is reminiscent of the hip pocket amendments that would come from our previous majority leader. I will follow the lead of the chair, but I'm offended by the process.
Senator Mathews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members. I want to call members' attention to a letter that's in your packet and hopefully is available to the public as well. Is it out for the public? Okay. Yep. It's out for public to get to. It's a 2-page stapled letter from the Minnesota Nuclear Alliance that shows all of the giant list and the growing number of organizations and associations and electric companies that came together to work on the language as we had in the original omnibus bill here. I see no similar list before us of what this A17 amendment is doing. And plus, I go back to my original point. I have a hunch that the House probably doesn't even know that we're processing such big changes after we had such big discussion about how the House and Prairie Island came to an agreement on that language, and that's what we had to do to introduce to this committee a couple of weeks ago when I brought this. I would like to urge members to pull this out. I'd urge the public to get this off the back or post it on the calendar page. Read the letter and read the list of all the folks that have come together. And I think I'd strongly urge this committee to stick with the underlying bill and reject the A17 amendment.
Senator Dibble.
Thanks. I just wanted to respond a little bit to the characterization by Senator Klein that this is a hip pocket amendment posted at the last minute. That's actually not the case. The A17 is a variation on the A9, which was posted yesterday, and was the product of a lot of communication that I was having with the chair and the tribe and others. And it's a good faith effort to ask some fairly simple and straightforward questions, which I have raised many, many times into this microphone in this committee over the years as we've debated and discussed new nuclear power, and this brought in good faith, and it's not geared towards any particular outcome, quite the opposite. It's trying to ask some good, objective, above-board questions that are in the public's interest. And not, the hip pocket amendments that I'm familiar with usually were of benefit to a very narrow interest that would stand to gain a substantial profit motive. So I just want to say that this is all brought, as openly and transparently as I possibly could. Having to respond to the nuclear study, that would possibly precipitate the lifting of the nuclear moratorium is a pretty big deal. And I wasn't a party to all of these negotiations that I keep hearing about, but I'm being asked to vote on a pretty important, substantial policy step, trying to look out for the interests of my district and constituents and the larger public's interest. I think there's some good ideas in here, some things we should look at and ask and have answered. And I pledged in the presentation of this idea that should additional parties, and I've been texting with the trades throughout this entire process, and I made a public commitment to continue to work with you, Mr. Chair, and others as this proceeds on to the next step, finance. So, that's, all trying to be super collaborative, available, transparent, responded quite substantively to Prairie Island, and you see that they're obviously neutral on the language, supportive of the bill if it goes in, and will continue to be so.
Senator Frentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Dibble, I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm not able to continue on. Mr. Chair, I would ask that the bill be tabled and that we recess and come back on Monday and take this up again. Members of the public, I'm sorry for the disappointment that this bill process is taking, but this happens sometimes. We want to get this right more than we want to get it in a hurry. And so, Mr. Chair, my suggestion for you as the chair would be to lay the bill over. We'll be back here on Monday, and that will allow us to address some of these.
All right, with that, we will lay the bill over and we will adjourn and take the bill back up on Monday. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.